now listening to Human Beings.
We're back.
We're back, baby.
Human Beings podcast is in the building again. After how long has it been?
Too long, bro. Whatever it's been since April. How long has that been? Like 8 months?
It was April last year.
April is month 4. There's 12 months in the year. That means 8. So like 10 months?
Yeah, it's definitely...
I don't know if my math is on point there. Is it 10? It's January, the end of January. So like 10, 11? No?
Yeah.
Give me some credit.
It feels it's been a long time for sure. But you know, we've been having a lot of things going on though since then. I mean, I think you weren't in the new shop. You just went into the new shop.
I went pretty ham on progress.
Yeah.
What would you say our biggest reason for not being consistent has been?
Just because right now, I'd probably say, well, at least for me. For you, I don't know. But for me, it's been because of all the transitions between just everything. Yeah. I've been everywhere.
That's pretty
with
much
jobs, everything. So it's kind of now I'm kind of getting back to a stable line where I have, you know, a schedule. I'm able to be a little more productive now because before I was just hectic. I'm just pretty much everywhere. So
all right. So what do you feel the biggest move you made since April has been?
Since April?
Put you on the spot.
I mean, obviously I got a new job, but then besides that, I would say committing to actually starting Connolly Film Productions, and actually committing to trying to release a documentary by the end of this year. That's my plan.
True. Well, you started on a good run today. Out on the course, baby.
Yeah.
We had a little pregame with golf today before we started this podcast, which was your first official golf experience, no?
Yes, it was. And let me tell you, it was amazing. I have a newfound respect for golf now. Pretty much, mainly, driving the golf cart around is probably the funnest thing about it.
For sure.
I wasn't even really playing, I wasn't playing. So for me, that's why I came along. And the golf cart, the nature, you know, seeing the landscapes of the golf course, it's almost like going to the springs without actually swimming in the water. That's the way I look at it as.
So what would you say were your biggest things that you didn't expect today, like witnessing your first real golf game? Like what?
Well, one thing that I did expect, which I feel like is typical that you see for golf courses, is seeing a gator. So I'm so glad
not happen.
That makes it so much more authentic.
Yeah.
Like, we saw the night gator was I would say a good at least 6 foot.
Oh, I'd say more than that. I would say maybe 8.
From tail to head, I would say it could. Yeah,
I would say,
but I'm saying at least 6 foot.
Yeah,
and
that was a good size gator.
Yeah,
and it was sick, bro. The way
and I got pretty close to it. I mean, not too crazy close. Yeah, you were behind me. To get closer.
Yeah, well, I was driving the cart trying to save your ass, but no, the gator thing was official. I've been golfing for real for 6 months now, right about, and that was the first time I've ever seen a gator, like a legit gator,
like chilling on the bank.
Yeah.
Because I've seen them, you know, in the lake, obviously, or whatever, chilling. But that one was just chilling on the bank,
like
pretty
right
big.
there next to the golf court.
Yeah.
Like I was like, damn, and it looks sick.
I can't even imagine those golf courses that have like the 15-footers and stuff, Godzillas.
That was the one that I told you that I couldn't find the picture on my phone at Silver Springs in Ocala.
Yeah,
there was a 14-foot gator out there, bro. And 14 feet, that's almost double what we just saw today.
Yeah.
Monster gator, and they had to get it removed.
For real, they removed it?
Yeah, because you can't leave it out there. Like, it's too big. It's too much of the danger.
I mean,
according to the city municipal type rules, not like according to our free life living rules.
I'm just saying,
you're like, leave it out there. It's a beautiful, creature.
Exactly,
it is, but it's also gonna.
If anything, that would make me want to go over there to golf because we're like, I'm trying to see him.
Yeah, until you go looking for your ball, and there you go. But so the gator thing was official. But okay, so other than the gator thing, what would you say? Like that you didn't expect from the game?
I honestly I expected it to be a lot harder. Well, I didn't, like I said, I didn't play. However, but watching you guys, Mark, Cisco, and
shout out to the boys.
Like it made it seem like, because I'm thinking like, bro, hitting this small ass ball over to that is gonna take a whole bunch of hits.
Yeah,
like a lot of hits. But the way
I mean,
y'all
if
were
you
doing
suck.
it, yeah, well, if you suck, but I would say that the times hitting the golf ball and watching y'all do it, even if y'all mess up or whatever, it's not as crazy as I imagined it.
Yeah.
Because when I was younger and you see golf, I'm like, how are they hitting the ball like this? But
bro, because pros is another level. Like that's after seeing what you saw today, or even for me, like being an amateur novice golfer, when you watch pros play, because even on a bad game, even on a bad hole like you saw today, like my hole 9, which was horrendous, that still probably took a lot less than you would have thought originally, even though that was terrible. And the fact that you watch professional golfers go out and do that in 2-3 shots, where every shot is exactly where they want it to be. Like that one shot I did on like hole, what was it? I think 10 or something like that, or no, I think that was like 7, where I called exactly where I wanted it to go, and it did that. And I was like, I'm gonna go over the bunker, fade right. Like that doesn't happen all the time.
That shot was pretty close.
That was a sexy shot, I know, and it doesn't happen all the time. So like, but though for those pros, it's like it does that every single time, and if it doesn't, it pisses them off because it's like, what the hell? And they're just, it's crazy. I love it.
Well, you already my situation. I've been kind of everywhere with everything. That's why it's taken me a while to kind of get established in us actually start doing this now.
Plus again, the video is a whole new thing for us. It's like a new adventure.
But what have you been going on since what you said? It was January, right?
Since our last one was April.
April, okay, yeah.
It's in January now, but
yeah.
But no, I've had a lot, man. Same thing for me. Like, and last year, honestly, during the podcast, we talked about all the things we planned on doing. We both have started to take action on a lot of those. But I also know
me with not working out and not and to stop being fat.
Yeah,
much.
That hasn't happened, but we were not perfect. Well, if anything, if it helps you feel better, the last like 4 months I've been getting fat. So, but that's mostly drinking beer. I should back off a little bit. I told myself actually today, because of the golf match, was my last day drinking beer for at least a month. Like, I'm not going to drink alcohol for a month.
A month. Meanwhile, drinking.
It's still today though. So after tonight, I'm gonna take a break for at least a month. But yeah. So for me, I feel like I was spreading myself too thin, and with the family and all the business stuff I wanted to do. But to answer your question more specifically, I started the YouTube, which is Philby Fadez, same as my barber stuff, same as the music. The music even. I don't even think I ever mentioned anything about doing music last year.
Yeah, it's been that long.
Yeah, which is crazy because that's an old thing to me now. So
did I even have any YouTube videos up on my True Florida experience?
No, you hadn't even. I think maybe you had like the last episode. No, I want to say no.
I don't think so either.
Yeah,
because actually there was a lot that's happened between it. Like we both have some YouTubes up. I mean, at least for mine, for True Florida experience.
Yeah.
And you have your music and a couple clips from barbering and stuff like that.
Yep. I've moved barbershops. Last time we talked, I was at, actually, damn. The last time we spoke, I was just moving to Bellevue, just outside of Ocala. And since then, I was there for like 8-9 months. And now I'm officially back in downtown Ocala at Hair Junkies. Shout out Hair Junkies to the squad. Gonzo, Steve, Manny. Good looking out. Hair Junkies.
I'll tell you what, that barbershop is one of the best looking barbershops I've ever been in.
I would say the best, hands down. I've never seen a better one.
Yeah. But I haven't been in many. That's the only reason why I worded it that way. But I would definitely say it is the best barbershop that I've been in. It's looks and aesthetics and everything. Honestly,
it's slightly discouraging because I think about starting my own when I do start my own shop, or even I don't want to ever have to move, but let's say God forbid something happened and I did have to move, it's like nothing's gonna top this shop, and I feel like anything going anywhere else is a downgrade.
It's only a downgrade,
and I'm just like, damn, that means after this, if I ever have to move again, it's like I'm gonna need to match or top this, and matching it will be hard because Manny, the owner, he's an artist himself.
Yeah.
And so like that has to do with not only just the paintings that are in there, and because him and his boy had a lot to do with the paintings, all to do with it, but also the interior decorating. I even talked to him about that when I first went in there. And I was just like, bro, and obviously it didn't look like that from the beginning. Like he built it up to that because actually a trailer had crashed into that place. I don't know if I told you.
Yeah,
I was right on the corner.
Something like that, yeah.
So a trailer had crashed into the place. So he remodeled it. And I told him, I was like, man, there's so much about this place that looks so legit and like goes so well together. And I just can't imagine how you came up with the concepts to like, okay, this is what I'm going to do here. The shiplap being black and gray on the wall, the colors popping the way they do on all the paintings, like having all the connected paintings lined up on top.
Yeah, but it's not really something that you visualize before it happens. It's kind of
it comes together.
You have basic visualization of it, but as you're putting it up, you're like, oh snap.
But it comes together so perfectly. Yeah. So anyway, he ended up telling me that he has like he's always had like a thing for interior design and stuff. So like his brain kind of works that way anyway.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll have him on the podcast one day so he could say for himself. But anyway, I agree. It's sick as barbershop, it looks like. I had a great time at the other barbershop in Bellevue, but the downtown location is just way better. The vibe, you know what I mean? Way more places to eat for lunch, which I always say that, but it's such a big deal. Like, like back in Bellevue, it was like 2 spots. But anyway, so I did that. The YouTube was dope. For me, the thing with YouTube is it takes so much time to edit videos.
I know. I noticed. I was just thinking about, because obviously I'm trying to do, if anything, too much. You know, I have Utopian Training, which I'm trying to do health and fitness. I'm trying to do True Florida Experience, which is a travel to Florida. I'm trying to do Connolly Film Productions, which is mainly just documentaries about life and also things I'm interested in and what I consider the truth and stuff like that. Just stuff that
you consider the truth.
Well, what I would say is the truth. But yeah, trying to actually balance all those out on top of working full time is just like, oh man, it's a lot. But I started to get into my flow with True Florida Experience for a while there. I mean, I think I only have like 9 or 10 videos up now, but
so you had a good amount of shrooms to help you out.
Nah, I've never taken shrooms in my life. No, but yeah, I was having
you like that Office
a good
deal
flow.
I just did.
The what?
The whole Office thing, like
the Office thing.
You know what I'm talking about?
No, I don't.
Where they look at the camera, something happens, and then
okay, yeah.
Come on, man. So that, I mean, you've been working on that. I've been dabbling in art a little bit. I mean, if you can't tell, this is a pretty impeccable drawing I did pre-production today.
Yeah, as I was telling you earlier, it looks a little horror-ish.
I would say just creepy. I wouldn't say
okay,
horror.
Okay. Horror is a little extreme.
It gives a little creepy vibe.
It
you know what?
you
know what it actually reminds me of? You remember him from the Powderpuff Girls?
Yeah. Damn, you pretty much. That's unconsciously drawing.
Yeah. I didn't mean to do that, but that's actually.
And by him, I mean him.
And I bring that up because the Mojo Jojo pop I just got for the barbershop. But anyway, that just it came to me.
And you weren't thinking about him when you do that?
No. I literally just like started with a random line and then went with whatever I could see from there.
What's weird is it's weird to me knowing you for so long, seeing you interested in drawing. Yeah. Because I've always considered you just trad. I'm sorry. I considered you trash.
I thought that too.
In drawings, like the stick figures don't even look good.
Yeah.
Like that's what I would consider.
I'm not even mad at you for saying that. I felt that way too until now. I'm definitely tapping way more into my creative side.
Yeah,
for sure. But I want to say work has helped me do that because that's actually a good point because this is something that I've talked to different clients about and stuff and just people in general. But just like you said, I never viewed myself as an artist and I never viewed myself as I've always loved creativity and enjoyed creativity, but for some reason I felt like there was some block in my head about creativity. And I think that was because I thought that there was a standard for what is good creativity or what defines something that's good. And anything I would do, I would put this idea on myself of like, oh, this isn't good. Mm-hmm. And that immediately ruins all creativity.
Yeah. Yeah.
because that's not what being creative is about. It's about doing whatever is coming to you and coming through you and going with that flow. Like, it doesn't matter. It whether it's good or not is about the person viewing it. You know, like the whole beauty is in the eye of the beholder, the cliche, like that's what it is.
Yeah.
And barbering is what helped me understand that, because we all know that barbering, or us guys at least definitely know that barbering is an art. And doing it, you know, it's hard because when you first start doing it, you're just trying to understand and do the fundamentals very well. And you don't want to mess up just the basic stuff.
Yeah.
But once you get those fundamentals down, just like I imagine it would be in basketball, then you can start being creative with your plays or how you do certain things and play off of the fundamentals, and then it becomes your art.
That's the way it should be. However, I would argue that majority of people do it the opposite way. But yeah.
Well, okay, maybe
and for basketball.
Maybe I touched on too hard of a nerve for you on basketball.
No.
But no, I feel you. And so that's how it is with barbering, right? Like at first, you just want to be able to do a decent fade. Like you just want to be able to make people happy with what they're paying for.
Yeah.
And then you start to get so comfortable with it that it's like, okay, now I feel free enough to try this.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to maybe approach it this way. And there's no, it doesn't, regardless what you do is good. It's just whether or not somebody appreciates it more or less in the style that you did it. Yeah. So as I started to understand that more with my barbering, I've always liked painting. And something about it has always, even though I never like grew up painting, something about painting, especially like in art classes and stuff, always drew me to painting. And I did a painting with a twist class like years ago. And I just, again, it kind of like brought it back to me that I enjoyed that for some reason over other forms of art, like even what I just did now. Although after doing this, I'm feeling more hyped to do this type of stuff. But
I actually, when I was younger, I loved art class, but the thing, my art wasn't like that, where that's more, how you say, just, I don't really know, for lack of a better term, random stuff.
Yeah.
Where, I guess abstract or whatever it would be called. Yeah. So I was more interested in drawing like a building correctly.
Yeah. Like anatomically.
Exactly.
Correct, you know?
Yeah, exactly the way it is. That's the way I would draw and be like, yeah, this looks good. Or like drawing a character exactly the way it's supposed to look. That's the type of artwork that I was into do.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes with obviously my personality of more technicalities. But I would definitely say from certain experiences from magic shrooms, that has opened a whole nother dimension for me to understand that level, the abstract levels of just random things, and even appreciate just a whole bunch more untechnical things that are just going with the flow.
And that's something for me too, because I always kind of was understood more. I didn't understand this art as much. I understood what you were talking about. That was never what I was good at. And I think that kind of is what kind of led me to that push to get away from art. And now that I'm getting more in touch with that free flow side, I can do things like sit in front, and even like I said, Manny at the shop, he's a painter too. And being able to sit at home with my daughter, throw a canvas up and just start painting some random stuff, even though like I want it to look like good, but I just let it flow out and just enjoy the process of it and let it become whatever it becomes. And then at the end, like this, I literally like had no intention on this whatsoever, but I'm actually stoked at how this came out. Like, I think that looks dope. I'm going to rip this out and take it home. I just enjoy that now. And I think that barbering helped me do that. And even with music, like, which is a whole other topic, but you were about to say something?
No. I was just saying that the correlation between that and that character from Powerpuff Girls, him, is just crazy.
It is crazy. But well, I get like it's kind of like a fusion to me, because it's like him, and I don't know if you ever watched Beetlejuice, but like this part, gives me Beetlejuice vibes.
I mean, I never really watched it, unfortunately.
I'm just gonna give everybody one more look, just so you know what we're talking about. We got a little him action.
But it's crazy the change, like from us being younger to now, to being able to like appreciate things like that where we don't appreciate it, because the life experiences that we've had along the line allow, like, and obviously me and you are very open-minded people. So we're the type where we think we can do anything. It's just whether or not we want to do it or not.
Exactly. How bad you want to do it versus
Exactly.
the other things that you want to do.
Exactly. And when we were younger, we weren't as much as like that.
Mm-hmm.
We were like that, but we started to become more and more open-minded as we grew older and breaking down those barriers.
I want to say it's like we started off that way. And then as we became more like teenage years, like going into the teenage years, we started to get more closed down to what our peers thought was good or bad. Yeah. And then now as we're freeing ourselves further and further into adulthood, we're going back in that cycle and understanding like that's the wrong way to go.
Yeah. But and I feel like also another aspect that contributes to that constriction of your mind is being around your peers, like you said, where you're constantly influenced by them every single day. Mm-hmm. When you're in school, where like when you're older,
and it matters, and that's the part that pains me being a parent now, is because like we know now that ultimately it really doesn't matter what your peers think, but during that time of your life, it really does matter. Like it, as much as it doesn't in the grand scheme of life, for your development and your experience in that point of your life, it does matter what your peers think.
Yeah.
And you just want to find that happy balance of, not going too far one way or the other.
Yeah, it definitely matters. Because if you're around people that, start doing criminal type stuff all the time, you're going to get stuck into that.
And we've seen that.
Yeah, I mean.
And I think that I like to think that we were very fortunate, us somehow in our own ways in that process. And maybe we have something to do with that for each other, but I'm not sure. I mean, it could go either way. Mm-hmm. I would like to think, though, even if we weren't at all, let's say, in each other's lives at that point, that it would still not matter just because of the way that we are. But when people are, you have to understand that it matters the way that we're discussing it, as long as you know that that doesn't define your actual identity as a human being.
It matters until
human being.
It matters until you get to a certain point of, I want to say, consciousness
and identification. Yeah, like you can't think that has anything to do with you as a person. It just has to do with your social circumstances. That's how I would say.
Yeah, because and it's about spending more time. Because when you're younger, you a lot of kids don't even spend time alone.
For sure.
Like, even though I was a very social person, I play sports all the time, doing this, like, I was naturally more quiet unless you knew me,
which is crazy to me, because even though I know you're quieter than me, I've never thought of you as a quiet person. But because everyone else does.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's because when I was younger, it was more like I would probably say more things to you or when you're around and make a joke, because I feel like I already know you'll get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Where other people, not trying to act like I'm some genius as a kid, but like I'll be like, I don't know their personality and I don't know if they're going to get it, even though I might still say it, but they don't know me, because I already look, from whatever everyone tells me, I already look mean as it is, apparently. When people see me for the first time, they just have like that type of thing, which is like complete opposite.
Which is funny, because I feel like anyone watching this podcast right now would be like, you do not look mean. It's like, yeah, but I don't look how I look out in public right now.
What, for me?
Yeah, because right now you and I are talking.
Yeah.
So like, you don't have the same image.
You're tying me to what I'm saying.
Exactly. And you're not just like in a random place looking how you would look.
I'm not doing like my own social thing, like just normal. Because normally my mind, I'm just quiet, but I'm constantly thinking of something in my mind. Like, I could be in line for something and I'm thinking about Human Beings podcast, like, yo, we got to do this, we're going to do that. And then someone interrupts my mind by talking to me and they're thinking I'm quiet. Where it's
like, what?
And I would never say that.
What?
But they interrupt my mind, not in a, like, obviously bad way. It's more like, that's why I was quiet. Mm-hmm. Because I'm like more interested in what's going on in my mind than what's going on right now around me. So it's like, I don't feel like talking about the weather. I don't feel like talking about
cold out there, huh?
It's like, that's why I'm able to be friends with people that might not align with the things that I talk about, obviously, and the things that I research and things like this, and being pretty much I would be labeled a conspiracy theorist for sure. But the reason why I'm able to do that is because I'm just trying to focus on the good things that I'm trying to connect with certain individuals. So even if, you think mass work or whatever the heck, it doesn't matter to me. Whatever, it's your life. I'm going to still tell you it's BS. I'm going to still say it. But are you trying to go kayaking? Okay. Then we can still be, we have a connection.
You have to find a connection.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because if there's not any connection, okay, you don't want to go kayaking, you don't want to go out, you don't want to go have fun, you hate nature, like you don't want to do anything. I'm like, okay, well then we're not friends. Yeah. Like there's nothing for us to do.
Friends is like a strong word, I feel like, but it's like we just don't have any reason to hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you have to hang out a few times, build a friendship.
Yeah.
But I feel you. If there's no reason to even do that, and I find that even with myself, that's why I feel like I actually. Well, it's different for me too because I have a family and all. But I actually I try to kind of create that situation or that opening for hanging out more than normal, only because I know I look at it like handing out business cards, right? You hand out 100 business cards, you might get 10 people to hit you up.
Yeah.
So if I feel like there's any reason that you and I might,
you sound like a loser right now. I hit up 100 people and only 10 people.
I'm saying it because I have a family. I don't get to hang out as much, and I like to find people like on our level, And when I say on our level, or at least that you can build
not
something
in a
with,
conceited way, a certain level of like experience that we want to be around,
the vibe that we're looking for.
Yeah,
and I found that with a few people so far, especially when you move to a whole we're from Orlando, Kissimmee, so it's easy to expand off of a group of mutual friends. Mm-hmm. But when you move to a whole new place with a family where you already have extremely limited time and you're working full time, like you don't have that. So anytime you're trying to, and for me, I'm a very more extroverted than you. I'm always trying to find more people more because I thrive off that energy.
Yeah. And plus, you're already in the best occupation to meet everyone in the city by cutting their hair.
Exactly.
So you're just able to experience who could I chill with like here and there randomly? Yeah. Who would I chill with on a daily basis or a regular basis? Because it's like they resonate with the type of vibe I'm trying to go with.
And it's crazy too because you even get like I love my clients. I love all my clients and as I should but they're all on different levels, just like all of our friends that we have, right? Mm-hmm. They're friends on different levels. So it's like this guy, I know I'll talk about everything up to this point, and I'll maybe go have lunch with him, but I probably won't hang out with him on a day that I have free. Like, and this guy, like I'll hit him up whenever, or these are my golf buddies. Like we're going to go golfing and do whatever. And so I enjoy that aspect. And the reason I said that about the business card thing is because if you don't open up that invitation, mm-hmm. it's crazy how many people so many people don't want to take action on things. So you have to like basically tell them like, look, I'm serious. If you're not, it's on you. Like this is happening with or without you. Let me know if you want to come.
Exactly.
I'm not waiting on you to do this thing. But if you are interested, like you're saying you're interested right now, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Hit me up. If you don't, I'm not going to hit you up after this because this is me hitting you up right now.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how it almost never happens. But then you get the person who is like, oh, I've been looking for this. And they are about it. And then they hit you up. And it's
then
like,
they start hitting you up more.
Yeah.
Because
they get it.
They've been trying to experience that type of friendship with somebody where it's like, dang, he's putting me on to this. It's actually somebody out here telling me to do something fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Or like, and if you're hanging around people that aren't doing anything, that's like me. Like I would say in the last year, I've been hanging out with my boy Jeremy, mm-hmm. hanging out with my boy Jamie, like, and they've been friends for a long time, and hanging out with them, and like they're hitting me up and like, yo, what are we doing? Because I'm constantly like, yo, I'm going to the Springs. Yo, I'm going out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say the Mangoes. Yo, I'm going out over here. Yo, I'm doing this. Hey, I'm doing that. Like. And it's different. It's
mm-hmm.
not just like going to the club and popping bottles.
Yeah. You're trying to have a good time.
I'm doing all these other things. Yeah, I go to a video game bar just to go to play video games.
Ready Player One, Banana Bread Beer. I haven't been there in a minute.
Yeah.
But you were talking about connecting with people, And before we get too far off the topic, I forgot to end off the music note because it has to do with the art real quick. And I just wanted to kind of go back to that. Because it was so random for me to start making any music. I've never considered myself a music person or an artist or whatever.
Well,
And
you were kind of into it when you were younger, though. I think in
high
or
school.
something like that.
I wanted to, and I loved it. I've always had a love for it. But so this is. I'm glad you said that because that has to do with what I'm saying now. When I was like 16 or 17, I bought all this studio equipment and had the Fruity Loop things and tried to make my own song for the first time. And I did a song with my cousin. And it actually, I mean, it was bad, but for what it was, it wasn't bad. And I ended up stopping from then. It was actually like, I think a song for this girl I was with at the time. And I made it. And I think back to it now and I wish I had it just for like to hear the quality of it and stuff.
Yeah.
And
you deleted it?
I just lost it over the years. And I think back to that time, and if I would have never, it's because I viewed it the way I was explaining the art at the time. It was like music has to sound a certain way so that people will like it. And that is the wrong way to approach it. Like you shouldn't make or create anything so people will like it.
But that is based off of unconscious like bias towards a certain trend.
Mm-hmm,
because
exactly.
Because as opposed to just looking at it for what it is, and this applies to everything.
Like you're just creating. That's
exactly.
it. Like, and nothing else matters.
And that's you are becoming a trendsetter by breaking those biases that everyone's like, oh, this sounds weird, but in reality, they didn't even hear anything. They didn't hear in the music aspect. They didn't hear the beat. They didn't hear the words, or they just feel like, oh, it's not like how the music is right now.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't like it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's still the case for so many people. Like right now, I love rap. We grew up on rap and hip hop. Mm-hmm. But these days, if you show somebody a rap song and it's not thug and gangsta or repeating the same thing 18 times, even if it's a good quality song, so many people will just automatically hear it and think like, oh, I don't like it. And it's not that you're not actually taking it in for what it is. You're just taking this cookie cutter idea of what a good rap song should be, and then saying that that's not good. And I was doing that. That's what I was doing at that time, and that's why I wasn't successful even by my own standards at the time. And then I just got away from it completely. Never tried to do it again.
I personally am not too crazy on like knowing everything about music. Like I've never been. I'm more into like
or anything pop culture for that matter.
Yeah, I'm horrible. Like you can name. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna know the big name actors and stuff like that. But like
barely
now, when I like if I go out and then like someone will be like, "Oh, have you heard that song from this?" No, nope.
I know that. 100%.
Or I might have heard it, but I'm like, I have no idea who it is. I'm just hearing it because it's on here. Okay, it's pretty not. It's a pretty good song.
Unless it's a reggaeton song.
Well, yeah.
You know all the latest reggaetons.
Yeah, it just gets me in a good mood. That's why. That Afro beats, reggae.
Yo, reggae is my jam. That brings me
like
to
I my vibe is like a party adventure vibe. Mm-hmm. That's like how I want my vibe to be. So it's like
a more adventure party.
That's why I'm like, no.
No, you're more party adventure. But listen, so the reggae thing, that's actually what I listen to more than anything now is reggae. Even though I came up off of obviously rap and hip hop, I listened to a little bit of everything. But right now, for the past at least year and a half, it's mostly been reggae. And the reason is because of the vibe. So randomly last year, I randomly wrote a song. And I told one of my boys who I know makes music in his crib, like just has a little production thing, kind of how I did back in the day. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, let me tell you something. Like I wrote this song. Like tell me what you think. So I just played the beat on my speaker, spat it for him real quick. And he was like, yo, that's dope, bro. Like you should come record it at the house. And I was like, oh, that'd be dope. So I went to go record it. And I was like, yo, this shit sounds good, bro. Like not about me, but like the quality of the thing. Yeah. And I didn't expect that. And he was like, oh, bro, like I've only been doing this for a year or two. I'm trash. Like, I'm glad you like it, but this isn't anything. He's like, if you go to a real studio, you'll see the quality difference. And I'm like,
It's funny that I was just thinking about how you just been like, yeah, okay, let's go to the studio and record it. Like just you're super spontaneous with things. I'm spontaneous, but not on that level. Because for me, you already know how I am. I'm like,
wait a minute, I'm not nearly prepared enough.
Okay, no.
I've got a plan.
No. Not on that level.
No, on that level.
On certain things, I am. But for that particular, it'll be like, okay, I gotta at least ask some questions. You're just like, we'll see what happens.
I know exactly. It's
I
more
gotta at
fun
least be
that
like,
way.
okay, what do you mean? Okay, what do you have? How does this work? Like,
Yeah. For me, it's like I trust.
I'm more like tactical mind. Like
you've
is this something that I actually want to do? Because you're just like, I'm gonna find out if it's something I want to do.
Oh,
and then
yeah.
I'm just like, I'd just rather not be in
No,
that
yeah.
situation.
For me, that's way more fun. It's like you've
It
been doing
is.
this for 2 years.
It
You're
is.
telling me it's way better. I'm gonna go find out.
It is in certain scenarios, but for certain things, it's not worth it for me. It's like, can I just understand what's gonna happen before?
Oh, well,
I do
don't
it?
get me
Then
wrong.
I'm
Okay.
like, nah. But you're just like, yeah, let's go. I don't know anything.
Pretty much.
Let's do it.
You're pretty much correct. However, I will say in this circumstance, we're being a little dramatic because, like, I did have follow-up questions. Like, yo, you should do it at the studio. Done. Book me. No. I mean, I at least ask questions like, when you say it's better, like, like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean better? What could they? Because this is actually what I asked them. I was like, look, to me, I don't have like a musical ear, sonic ear.
Yeah.
I enjoy like feeling the music and like writing words that I think sound good on it and then wanting to spit it. That's pretty much my limit on the whole musical artist situation. So I was like, look, to me, this sounds amazing. This sounds radio quality to me. So like, what are you talking about? How could a studio be better?
Yeah.
And then he kind of like gave me a few things where it's like, I don't really know what those things mean, but it's enough to make me want to go hear what it sounds like. So I went to go to the studio. At this time, I only had like 2 or 3 songs written. And the first day I went, it was a couple hour session. That's where I went to Genocide at Mixed by Genocide on IG. Holla at your boy. He hooks it up. But so I went there for for that one session and we recorded 2 songs. 2 of my top 3 songs on my first mixtape personally. And the whole experience of just being at the studio and the process of recording and putting it down and then hearing the result and hearing the engineer do his thing, it was like intoxicating. And I actually understood I followed obviously music and pop culture more than you.
Yeah.
And I know that rappers and stuff
More than me. There is no following of pop culture for me.
More than anybody. Okay, not more than anybody, but anybody would be more than you. So I always wondered, like, how could these guys be in the studio for hours and hours and this and that? And it just didn't make sense to me. But after going there for like 2 hours for my first session and getting those 2 songs, I was like, oh, I get it. Like, I do want to chill in here all day and just make music. It's just, I enjoy that process.
Yeah.
So
I imagine it's similar to like videos and video editing for me.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, I could spend 24 hours straight, no sleep, and just doing it.
Yeah, exactly. And then, that whole creative process, just like this and the haircuts, it's its own thing, and the painting. And after I had those 2 songs, I was like, well, I already have 2 songs that I like. And then I thought about it and I was like, I might as well just make enough to put out like a project. And I was like, I've never done a project. Might as well do it now. And then I was also in a mode at the time where in a non-depressing way, I was thinking a lot about death at the time. And
yeah, not depressing.
No, in a non-depressing way. Just death in general, like the process of life and how like fragile it is. And I have 2 little girls and my wife, and I was like, man, it would be dope. Like, God forbid my time came up short to have something for them to listen back to that's me literally telling them my current state of mind on things and like how I feel and think about things, so that regardless right now, they'll always, I've heard of people who like people have passed and like they'll keep their phone line on and keep paying for it just to hear their voices. You know what I mean? Like their voices on that voicemail because that's all they have left of them.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was like, man, well, I've already done this. This is really how I feel. And the reason that kind of pushed me to start doing it at the beginning too was because I was hearing so much negativity and toxicity. And I don't know if it's actually the music or like us getting older and like our mindsets. But I was like, I'd rather hear rap that's not so much of this.
Yeah.
And if I'm gonna complain about it, I might as well do something about it. And I feel like that, just like we just talked about, if you're hearing rap and it's not thug or super street and like mad aggressive and like I'm gonna fucking cut your head off, that it's not good. And you can have good rap, talented rap, and the cursing too. Like, don't get me wrong, you and I curse when we talk and stuff for emphasis on certain things.
Yeah.
But like, damn, it's like you're literally just rhyming the curses. It's like, that's easy. Like anybody could hit a good beat and rhyme bitch with bitch. You know what I'm saying? But like actually writing shit more lyrically and like trying to get better at that. That's what I ended up approaching it with. And also so that my daughters and me, even looking back, because it hasn't even been a year yet. I dropped that mixtape in August. And when I went back and listened to the whole thing, it's like, damn, that was like a snapshot of my mind in space at that time. And me putting it down there and like locking it in. And now I can go and do another project and more music and watch my own growth and like how my perspectives change. And I just think that's a beautiful thing.
Talking about when you were talking about listening to a lot of negative stuff, and I would definitely say it feels more negative because the amount of information we're receiving on a daily basis is 20-fold what we were receiving when we were kids.
For sure.
So it definitely would seem more, you're definitely absorbing more negative, but you're also absorbing more positive.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're just, completely only doing negative content or exposed to that type of stuff. But it's like you said, so much easier to focus on the negative, not just in music, but in everything.
Mm-hmm.
They focus on, like, people that focus on negatives and doing all this negative or real criminal stuff, like actual criminal stuff, like not just, I'm selling a little marijuana here. Like, that's not real criminal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's the easy way to live. Mm-hmm. It's harder to live a positive life.
For sure.
It's harder for me to go down the street, somebody curses me out. I was like, oh, all right, man. Well,
I'm going to shoot your ass.
I'm good. I'm out. It's easy to react. You're living an unconscious life too. Mm-hmm. Because you're just, everything can just affect you. Like, rather than you being in control of life, your whole atmosphere is controlling your whole life. Mm-hmm. You walk into a room, if someone says something, boom, you feel like you're going to do this. Yeah. It's all unconscious reactions.
You can't just let it ride. You saying, no, everybody in this room heard you say that to me, and I can't let that happen.
Yeah.
Like, bro, like what?
That's why, like, I like the Asian, Japanese styles and Chinese style movies, because the master of the martial arts always only fights when he's when he's protecting something. Mm-hmm. And that's what strength is for. Strength isn't for
the ultimate
for just bullying people and doing all this, all these negative things to people. It's about real strength is protecting something that you actually love or care about in life. Mm-hmm. And only acting when it's actually necessary. And
that's the ultimate thing in martial arts. Like, that's why so many most martial artists are like that, is because when you actually are practicing this form of martial arts, you have no reason to defend some empty ego or some empty pride. Like, you know what you're capable of, and you're only going to do that when it's absolutely necessary. You're not just going to feel like you need to show that you can perform this thing.
It's actually... I've actually kind of got that because obviously, as you know, I'm really into anime, and learning from that Asian lifestyle. And I mean, I am half Asian too, but like,
let's not forget that.
Just learning from that was kind of, it's similar when it came to basketball. When I was when people will try and challenge me one-on-one and stuff, because they'll like see that I'm good or whatever, and they're like, want to play one-on-one, or like, oh, let's play one-on-one for money. And I'm just like, I don't care about that. Like, number one, like, I don't care enough to do that. And it was more, I'm worried that you're not going to pay, and I don't want to have to be in a situation that
now you have to defend your ego.
Exactly.
Full circle. You can't
pretty
let
much.
it ride.
But that was when I was younger. Right. But even then, it's even more. It's not even feeding my ego, because I still would have just been like, going in, even if I would have did it and he doesn't pay me, I'm just like, I already expected this. Like,
no, I feel you. But, and I was talking to that with a client actually just yesterday. I had a client that I haven't seen since before Thanksgiving, and because he just waits kind of that long. And yeah, you need to step it up, dog. But
I need to come to your barbershop, and you need to give me a shape up, because I have literally never been to a barbershop in like 3 to 4 years. I think it's been almost 4 years.
I can tell.
It's almost been like 4 years.
Yeah, we'll tighten you up. So you do. We'll do it next podcast, actually, because we're gonna do the next one in the barbershop.
True.
But so I was talking to this client of mine. He's 19, and he just turned 19, and this month. And I know how he runs around. You know, he grew up in a different environment than us, and is a little more rough or whatever. And I know that he sells weed on the side, but he does it in the most he did it at least at that time in a not smart way. And he actually got shot at the end of last year in his hand. It wasn't nothing crazy, but like he got hit with a bullet. And he was telling me that yesterday. And I was like, damn, bro, for real? And he kind of went through the whole story of what happened. And I'm just like, bro, that sounds like just completely not worth it. You know what I'm saying? And the whole transaction was over $100 of weed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it was just apparently the dude he was helping somebody. He was serving to somebody's friend that he didn't know, and he went with them, and he went to go serve. They had, the transaction was done, and one of the dudes just pulls up the gun to his face and just starts popping off, and he ends up hitting his hand. My client got hit in his hand, but his boy got hit like a couple times in the stomach, and he was on life support and everything. And he tells me the whole story of what happened, and I'm just like,
so the dude was trying to rob them.
That's the thing, I guess, but it was almost a done transaction. I don't. This is the version of the story I got, at least, and it just, even to him, it didn't make any sense. Like, it was a pointless thing, and I'm just thinking, like, that whole situation over $100. Like, I'd rather just work an extra day at a regular job and not have to deal with anything close to that. I know that's not how so many people think of it, and we were talking about just that, and he was talking about how, like, he gets that now, and I hope he does, and I hope he goes, to better himself in that way. And it just seems so pointless, man. And that happens a lot. Like, we hear about that kind of stuff in Kissimmee, Orlando too. But when you go to a smaller town like Ocala and Bellevue, you see how much more, it's so much more concentrated because it's a smaller town. And you see so much of that going on for people who are involved in that. And it's just so ridiculous.
One of the...
And their perspective is like that's worth it. That hustling like that is worth it for that. And it's like, dude, so what if this job takes a little more time for you to build something better, but not having to worry about getting shot over $100 or, you know what I mean? Like, that's just.
I think that the whole idea of people falling into that trap is mainly of them having. They don't have enough life experience to like experience things in life in general. For sure. Because the more you experience in life, the more you realize how amazing it is.
Exactly.
And once you realize that, too narrow. Once you realize that, that's why it takes certain people. It takes them until they're like way older as an adult to realize that.
Way older, like
where like
40s.
I would say I realized that not. Pretty damn young.
Yeah. Like, not to be cocky or like narcissistic. And I literally have clients who are in their 40s.
However, I do
that.
I do respect the fight and rebellious nature of people. I respect that on 100%.
But it's
and
the,
this is
it's
why
the foundation
I'm actually,
of that though. It's where that's coming from. That makes the difference.
Because that's a different complex concept.
Yeah.
As opposed to what we were talking about.
Yeah.
But on that concept, I respect that level of the rebelliousness because it's a form of freedom.
Right.
A form of it,
but not the best
but
form.
Not in a conscious way.
Right.
It's more like they don't know where to direct why they want this freedom.
Yeah, because you can take that energy, like they say, you wouldn't know, but there's a lot of celebrities and stuff that came from that kind of lifestyle, and dude,
I wouldn't know.
You redirect that same energy into a way that makes sense, that's more positive and more legit, you know, where you don't have to worry about those things. And just like you were saying, I literally have clients who are in their late 30s and 40s who we have the same I'm 29. I'll be 30 this year, which is wild. But and we have those same and we have those same conversations. You look like it, where you know what, we'll talk and they're like, damn, bro, you know, you're so young, which first of all, I don't feel so young. I know in the grand scheme I am, but it's like, I'm almost 30, bro. Like I'm not so young. I'm like almost middle age.
It's still young.
I know, but it feels
middle
like
it feels like
I know, but it feels like I'm creeping middle because it's like 30. But anyway, that's getting beside the point. So, and you know, they're talking about what we're talking about now, and they're like, yeah, you know, and these kids don't understand, and now I get it, and you know, after spending so many years in jail and this and that, and it's like, it took you that long.
Yeah.
Like you didn't see this earlier. And it's not always 100% their fault. It's their situation because they weren't fortunate enough to have seen what we saw. They were that restricted. Like their blinders were on that heavy that's literally the only thing they saw. And that was life. It wasn't about, I want this life over this life. It's like, this is the only life. And then you look at that now, and it's I feel so bad for people in those situations. But
especially when you get in those situations, and let's say you go to jail or whatever for a certain amount of years, then you also have to deal with the corruption of the system.
Exactly,
at that point.
Inside and outside.
Exactly. So it's like it's already an unconscious bad decision, depending on what we're talking about, obviously. But like something like a speeding ticket. That's low level. That's not even what I'm talking about. Like real crime, like
going to jail a year plus.
Yeah, like
a prison time,
and like
even jail sucks. I mean, not that I've been there, but I heard enough stories.
Yeah, so it's I lost my train of thought.
You were talking about it being an unconscious decision because you have to deal with the corruption of the system.
Yeah, and now you have a whole nother situation on top of that you had to deal with, that you were dealing with in your social area. Whatever it was, now you have to deal with the big gang.
And then that corruption can even just tack on more and make it worse, the situation you're in. There's movies about that.
And it'll make you fall more into the trap of unconscious, like just anger about everything. And then you don't know where to direct it, so you're expressing it through the wrong avenues. So it really comes down to getting people out of that trap, which is what I spent many hours trying to realize, that I ended up realizing myself, is that like it's all about the information and the experiences that goes through each individual. And when you have that solid foundation of teaching children, teaching the next generation, teaching even adults, giving them the ability to do other life experiences, to experience life. Because when you create a system that allows people to not experience life, that's when they do criminal type of things, what we consider criminal things, because they haven't experienced life. They don't know that hiking a mountain, getting to the top, like that is a beautiful experience.
And even just you saying that right now to so many people would just be like hiking a mountain.
Yeah.
Or like going on a golf course. Going just to the woods for 20 minutes. Like,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Why would you do that?
Just to give perspective, I remember when I was in Tennessee at Sadhguru's temple, and there's a certain word for it. I forgot what it is. It's like a rock that hangs over the edge. I forgot what they call them.
Cliff.
I mean,
I'm just playing. I know. Go ahead.
Obviously, if it was technically, I guess it is a cliff. But so, anyways, when I sat there, and I'm just there by myself in the mountains, and I'm sitting there just looking over the landscape, and I'm pretty much tearing with amazement of how beautiful the world is. And that, like, when you get to that point where life is so beautiful that you couldn't even understand how people can do certain things that they do. It's like, if you felt the same experience or understanding that I feel about life, you would not do those things. Exactly. Like, it would be a natural consequence of that, because you will be consciously thinking about life as a whole. Some people, their whole life is even just based off of just their city. So like someone like from Kissimmee, where we're from, they only know Kissimmee. That's it. Yeah. There are people that literally didn't know that we've grown up with, who's lived here for 20 plus years, didn't even know Florida had springs. And at that point, that is scary.
That's wild. And to think that that's probably a majority of people.
It's scary.
And obviously he's not like on this level, but Manny, the owner of the barbershop, I found out recently, he told me he's never been outside of really Ocala for the most part. Like I may be stretching that. I know recently, like a week or two ago, he took his first trip to Miami. He's like, I don't know his exact age, but I want to say like maybe 31, 32, something like that.
Yeah.
And he just went to Miami. He grew up, he's from Puerto Rico. He says, he grew up on the lower end of things over there. He moved here when he was like maybe 10, 12-ish, somewhere around there. And he grew up there, and he went on his first trip to Miami, and he went for a day, and it was just like his first time in a different type of big city like that. And, we were talking about it, and I feel so fortunate when I have those conversations, because I've been to so many places, and I'm telling them, and I'm like, really, to be honest, like most cities are pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Like
pretty similar. I mean,
like you're going to deal with
minor differences.
Yeah, minor differences, and it's mostly in the people and like their attitudes and things like that. Yeah. But like for the most part, don't go to a place and think you're going to see like this new magical place. Like it's just buildings and more people. If anything,
unless it's now, like nature or something.
I was going to say now, if anything, I'm trying to go more away from cities.
Yeah.
I'm trying to go more into like natural places.
Like when someone will tell me, "Yo, I'm trying to go to Colorado," they're thinking, "Let's go to Denver," and I'm like, that didn't even cross my mind.
The most remote mountain possible.
Exactly. Like I'm not even thinking like Denver. Why would we go there?
Like, aren't there people there?
And I'm like making this whole plan on the remote side of Colorado, and they're like, "Yeah, we can go to Denver. We stay in a hotel right in downtown." Like, what? Why would I do that? Like,
I could do that here.
I don't want to do that. I mean, obviously it's gonna be another good experience, but it's like for me, it's like there's a million things I'm trying to do in Colorado before I do that.
Yeah.
And especially if I'm going to go there, I'm not going to be doing that first.
And people have to experience it though. And that's what we were talking about. It's like, dude, like, I think it's awesome that you're doing it. I think he's going to Atlanta soon. And I'm just like, don't expect too much, but like, obviously have a good time. And when I think about those things, I just can't help but feel fortunate about it. And when I talk to people like my clients about all these things, I feel like when you're talking about their narrow perspective, the best thing I could do to have any impact, not that I'm on a pedestal or anything, but like to do anything to push the needle in a more positive direction, the best thing I could do is share whatever experiences I have and let that affect the person in whatever way it does, and just continue to push that out, because I could keep those experiences inside and know what they've done for me. But if I share them, maybe that can help somebody else in whatever they're thinking or doing. And I've actually had conversations with newer clients or whatever who have told me like, damn, like that makes sense. Or maybe you helped me click a few things together that I didn't really look at from that perspective. Yeah. And even doing that just from the business perspective in barbering, or, with the art, or the same thing. And even about the art in general, tell them there's so many people that block off their creativity because of the reasons that I did before. And bringing that up to them, it's like, dude, just go do even this podcast. This is a different type, but it's the same type of creativity. It's like, just do it, bro. Like, just do it. Let it become what it becomes, and don't worry about whether it's good or bad. Just do it and keep doing it and enjoy it. And if you're enjoying it,
something you want to do,
exactly. And if you're enjoying it and it's happening, let it keep going, bro. Like, that's life. Like, that's what life is. You're born. You keep doing it. Whatever it becomes, you do, and then you kind of just change the direction as you go, and hopefully become a beautiful person like me. No, I'm just but yeah.
I don't know about like you, but
yeah, like you.
I also, going along the same topic with like experiences, I think it's also a lot of people focus their time on certain things that everyone else has socially accepted as a thing they can spend time on. For instance, a big one is obviously sports. Mm-hmm. If you talk to another dude,
oh my gosh, don't get me started.
if you ever having a conversation with somebody you met and he's a guy, he's gonna pretty much assume
that you know sports.
You know about the NFL or know about the NBA. Like, it's just automatic. So, and then they're just like, wait, what? You don't know who this is? You don't know who that is? And it's like, yeah, bro. And then it's like, well, did you play sports? Like, yeah, bro. Actually, I dedicated 17 years of my life to basketball, like on an extreme level. 17 years. And I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I don't know. Because to me, I've prioritized what's more important to the and it's crazy. It's the inverse for the other people who are talking about sports. They're like, what is Chris talking about? This is not. It's like, this is what actually, obviously it's opinion,
right?
But it's what actually matters in life. Like, stuff that's going on in the world. How are we raising our children? What is being taught out here?
What are we becoming?
Yeah. What is the corruption that's going on? What is, positive things that are going on? What's things that can go on that can heal people, give them real health, actually help them to go into a positive avenue. And you're trying to make fun of me for dedicating hours about what makes, at least to me, and I'd say a lot of people, way more priority than sports. Like, they're literally spending 6-7 hours a day. NBA games 3 hours.
Yeah.
You telling me you watched this whole game and you're wondering why I know? Like, you're wondering why I know, even though you still probably don't believe me, because nobody believes me. Even though I don't want them to believe me anyways. I want them to go find it out and know it for themselves. But nobody believes me in saying you need to eat fruits and herbs, period. And they're like, oh, well, how do you know that? You see those 6 hours that you dedicated to knowing all the stats, doing fantasy football, which, okay, it's fun. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Like, do it for fun. But when crazy shit is happening out here, like, I have my priorities.
Yeah.
That's last on my list. I'm sorry. Like,
and even, because I agree with you 100% on that. And it's even to the point where I would rather watch somebody, as opposed to what you're doing, which I know you have a goal, like a reason. I mean, not just a goal; it's just for your
vision.
Survival. But yeah, but not just your vision, but it just, to you, it makes more sense to do something that is about what is important, right? And that makes sense to me. But I would even rather you, now that I understand this part of my life and creativity, spend those 3 hours that you're watching a game. Not that I hate on those things either. I feel like I have to put that disclaimer out. But I would rather watch you put that into something like any art form, any creative thing where you're just creating something, carpentry, art, painting, drawing, music, anything, because now I understand how important creation is. Yeah. And the fact that we are all creators, we are creation, we come from creation, like that is the essence of life. And creation it's so much more important to me now that I get that, because I can literally watch a video, like reels or whatever that are quick on Instagram that I scroll by. And before, I wouldn't really understand any type of art form that I see. And I'm just like, man, this person is dedicating this complete focus and complete concentration, for redundancy, on just creating this piece of work that has nothing to do with the productive capitalistic lifestyle. Like, not that I hate on that. I love what we have here, but it's not about what this is going to do for me. Maybe this artist makes a living on art, but that's not like why they're creating this piece right now. They're just putting everything they can into creating something that can be here in existence, and that they put their all into, and that's just beautiful in some way to them. And I respect and love that so much now. And I get why that makes sense to people. And I'd rather see people do that rather, and that's the only thing. And not that I'm trying to fall into a cliche, like money doesn't matter. Obviously we need money. It matters. But when that's not the pure focus of what they're doing, I enjoy that so much more.
When your focus is on doing something you really think matters to you to dedicate your short amount of time on this planet to do, the money should be a consequence of that.
Right.
And it's just your job to be able to do that, like create the structure for it to be a consequence to make that money.
Right, exactly. Like yes, I want the money, but that's not the reason that I choose to do this thing.
Because everybody, if anything in the world that's amazing is based off of somebody zeroing in on a tremendous amount of focus into that one thing or that something. And that's what makes it amazing, because people could be, you know, jack of all trades, king of nothing. That, you know, that little saying that they have. But when you
jack of all trades, master of none.
Master of none. Okay. And when you become so focused on that something, it transcends. The appreciation comes from a lifetime of creation. Because as you continue to put more focus is an energy that's creating that something. And once you put a lifetime of energy into that, people can feel it, whether or not they're consciously understanding what it is, why they think it's amazing. It's because I can feel it's like, man, this guy put 50 years.
Yeah.
And look at this amazing thing he created with his life. Like, people don't understand that's what matters.
I mean, even when you go to the extreme there and look at things like the Great Wall of China, like, you know, that has its controversies in terms of like slave labor and this and that. But like the fact that any group of people had so much concentration and focus over, I don't know the stats, like a century, like centuries. I don't know how long it took to build.
I have no idea.
Don't root, like, I'm not quoting history, but like a long time. Like, I want to say a century. I may be wrong.
Even though the foundation of creating that was not a very consciously humane thing to do.
Just a physical creation.
But there was still focus, an unbiased focus, whether it's positive or negative. The focus to complete something was there.
We're not talking about the motivation behind it. Just the simple creation. And it's just like, damn, like, even when I look at things like buildings, or, you know, like you said, you love architecture and pyramids or whatever. It's just like, this was not the chicken coop I built in my backyard a couple of years ago, like which took its own level of dedication and creation. And but like, this is like day after day after day for years and years of multiple hundreds of people coming together.
That's how I felt when I was in New York City, and I was at the top of the Empire State Building, and I was looking at the whole thing, and it was a different appreciation than the normal people that look at a city like, oh, you know, I'm trying to go
the normal people.
The city life or whatever. And it was more like I was appreciating the amount of energy and focus it took for a group of humans to create this. And it wouldn't have happened unless we had a certain amount of people come together and actually create it.
And now to see it all going to shit.
It's been going to shit for a while.
Separate conversation. Sorry, I couldn't help it. But I mean, that's
even that's just what we create. Now it's a different appreciation when you're looking at nature and what the planet
that's
created.
A whole nother, that's a podcast of its own.
Yeah.
Scott Springs Park. We'll hit that up again, and then we'll be back, folks.
I do want to go to that place.
Springs Park.
Scott Springs Park. Yeah, that place has some great memories.
Well, man, sure. I think that's a solid solid re-entry back into the podcast game, man. Sure. I'm sorry we went this long, but we can't let that happen again, man. We gotta be, you know, we're gonna I want to say like shoot for at least once a month now, like, because we were going for every 2 weeks, and then we kind of overreached, and we spread ourselves too thin, like we said, towards the end of the year. So and we got the video now, so hopefully that's a cool thing, man. Yeah,
I think that's a wrap.
Hey, good looks.
Human Beings Podcast.
Let's go.
We out.
Silence is the answer that we all already heard of. Always wanting power, doing what they can to corrupt. I'm wishing, who's dishing, what's the truth? Hold up. Existence is the puzzle that we all innately know of. Silence is the answer that we all already heard of. Always wanting power, doing what they can to corrupt. me only wanna